keynote speaker. So as this day is all about personal networking, I'd like to start the conference program about a little bit more information about how to improve this skill. Memorizing names is really important about that as well. And how can you actually do that? You're going to meet so many people today, and some of them have Asian names, some of them have European names. How are you all going to remember them? It's very difficult. So I'm actually very excited to introduce you to our first speaker of today, Jordan Harry.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Feeling good? Just waking up? Sorry about the delays. Now we can relax. Now, of course, many of you are feeling nervous. You're about to meet a lot of new people, and I'm hoping I can help you with that. But what I think is really important is, as a speaker, that you can connect with myself before you can connect with my teachings. So, I would like to introduce you to a person that changed my life. Now, what's important before we begin is how to remember names and how it's going to make you more interesting. You need to know what's important. Because with memory, what's important will make sure that it's stored in your long-term memory. Now, this person right here, she saw that I had a problem. When I was 10 years of age, I had a speech impediment, which meant I couldn't say words that started with an F or an S. But this woman right here, at 49 years of age, had me. I wasn't planned. She sacrificed a lot. Her money, her time, but she wanted to make sure that I succeeded. So she dragged me to speech therapy every day, even though I didn't want to. But as the mama's boy, I went, hoping that one day I could change her life and the lives of other people. Now, this is where it all began. I didn't quite start StudyFast when I was 10 years of age. But fast forward to today, and I now speak in front of audiences around the world, so thank you for having me. I read an accelerated speed of 1,500 words per minute, which is 7 times faster than the average reader. And today, I'll be teaching you how to remember more names. So the learning points today. We've already known my story. That's the boring part. But before we can start remembering more names, we need to know what's holding us back. So we need to dispel some memory myths. We then need to understand why we forget. The trick and the art with memory is not to remember more, but to reduce our forgetfulness. Of course, then, the exciting part, it will be your turn, so you won't just be listening to me talk today. You'll be trying some memory techniques yourself before you apply them throughout the day. So myth number 1, I'm too old. I'm sure many of you are thinking that right now. Believe it or not, the older you are, the more effective and efficient you are at remembering things, because you've already got learning systems in place. A show of hands, who speaks more than one language? Okay, quite a lot. I'm learning Spanish, so I feel very embarrassed right now on stage. I only speak one language. But you see, you already know how to learn. So when learning new things, you already know what works for you and what doesn't. Number 2, I'm sure many of you have said this before. I have a bad memory. Our brains are a supercomputer. And what we say is the program that it runs. So if you say that you're bad at remembering names, well, you'll forget the next person you'll meet. But if I said to you that I'd give you £500, because I'm from the UK, £500 to remember the next person's name, well, I bet you £500 you'll remember the next person's name. So it all starts with self-talk. And the way you can hack this is when you do remember something, give yourself a pat on the back. Believe that you are good at remembering names, and you'll start to see results. Myth number 3. I don't want to remember that because my memory is limited. Believe it or not, scientists have yet to find the capacity for the long-term memory. The reason why we do forget is because we aren't good at organizing our memories. So when we go to recall them, we struggle. Myth number 4, there's only 5. People with good memories never forget. This isn't true. I'm not an all-knowing, all-seeing God. I forget names. I forget where I leave my keys. And there's a saying that the shoemaker often goes barefoot. It's the idea that we get so caught up training people in memory that we forget to work on ourselves. So understand, after today, I can't make any promises, you will forget a few more things. And finally, you're not too old. We need to get past this limiting belief. So why do we forget? Now, there's three main types of memory. The first is procedural. For many of us, we've heard the saying, it's like riding a bike. You don't forget. It's because there's a step-by-step procedure that you can follow so you don't forget how to ride a bike. The next is semantic. Semantic are hardcore facts. Like the capital of France is Paris. That's your part to engage. Perfect. Paris. We can't argue that fact. Well, not yet anyway. But there is a different type of memory, and this is episodic. Now, show of hands again. Who has unfortunately had a car crash before? Okay. Those with the hands up, you can just give me a nod. Do you remember what day it was? Yeah, okay. Do you remember what you were wearing on that day? What the weather was like? Who was with you? But yeah, I bet you can't remember what you had for lunch a couple days ago. Well, you probably could if you sat down for a little while and traced backwards. Now, the reason why we remember emotive events like that is because there's a lot of emotion to them. We remember best when there's visual images and emotion tied to events. Now, the thing with episodic events is that's personal to you. That's personal experience. Semantic, hardcore facts. Episodic, someone may remember an event differently to someone else who was there. But the reason why it sticks is because it's vivid. So to sum it up, memory is learning, which I hope will take place today. And imagination, which we will engage in just a second. But to make sure that it's connected to our long-term memory, we need to use stories, just like we were kids. Now, one way you can remember my name today is with this visual image. Excuse my Photoshop abilities. I hope we know who the young man is at the bottom. That's Prince Harry. So, the way you can remember my name is Michael Jordan dunking on Prince Harry. Okay? Quite a visual image, and I got a couple of laughs from you. Now, it's funny, which is great. So if you forget my name, you can work backwards. You can picture me sweating, because I do look like that when I go up for the hoop. You can see the anguish on my face. And if you can't remember my last name, you remember some small guy called Prince Harry. So you remember Jordan is the dominant one, slam dunking on Prince Harry. Jordan Harry. Now, of course, you may remember my name differently. Memory is personable. If this doesn't work for you, change it. Now, often, my teachers got my name wrong. On the registers, it says Harry Jordan because it's surname first, first name last. Now, I never asked my teachers what visual image they had of me. But I would imagine when they got my name wrong, this is what they saw. They saw Prince Harry eating Jordan, Michael Jordan. This often happens with us on a day-to-day basis. When we forget things, such as people's names, the first time we hear it, we may not have heard it correctly, and we may have encoded it incorrectly. So in just a moment when it's your turn, pay attention. Attention is the precursor of memory. We remember things that are important to us. My teachers obviously didn't think I was too important and remembered me as Harry Jordan. So now it's your turn. You've probably already got some time, so this first round's going to be quite easy for you. But we're going to give you about 5 minutes to get to know everyone on your table. Now, you can work together, but remember, your images are personable. I will give you a warning. You don't have to share your visual images because they can sometimes be sexual. They can sometimes be rude. That is okay. Remember, we learn best when they are vivid and abstract. I don't share some of the visual images I make, okay? So I'm going to give you 5 minutes now take it in turns to try and make visual images to remember the first and last name. And begin. Okay, unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop you there. Sorry if you didn't get around the whole table, but you will get a chance to use these techniques throughout the day. So, I would love to know how we got on, but we are running a little bit tight on time. I will be around all day today, working around all the tables. So I won't interrupt you with your networking, but if you have any questions or pain points that you found with this, you can ask me throughout that. So the second part is we're now going to place it in your bedroom. Okay, sounds quite weird. This is a technique called the memory palace. Some of us may be familiar with this, or the loci method. So now we're going to take about 3 minutes now. You've all got notebooks or at least a piece of paper. I want you to draw the layout of your bedroom, okay? Go in clockwise. So we need pieces of furniture. So on a table, we need 6 items because there's 6 names. Some tables may have more. Yeah, we've got 7 over there. So hopefully everyone's got at least 7 pieces of furniture in their bedroom. Draw them out. They don't have to be artistic. They can just be little squares with bed, desk. Hopefully everyone's got those too. And then on each item, place each person's name on each item, okay? So you're making an association. So, for example, Michael, the videographer. I'm going to put Michael on my bed, and I'm going to picture Michael filming on my bed. Okay, that's quite strange. Okay? So then I'm going to work next. I then have a bedside table. Cindy, sister at the back. I'm going to put Cindy on the bedside table. She's watching Michael filming on the bed. Okay? This is storytelling. Our brain loves this. So I'm going to give you about 3 minutes now just to make a little visual note on your notebook of the names you now have. Begin.
Jordan, can I get you just to stand here real quick? I'm going to get a shot from behind you. Cindy, bring the camera. Yeah, just on here.
Everyone goes a little bit more quiet for this one. Okay, 1 minute left. 1 minute left. Okay, if we finish up our drawings, I can imagine some of these are quite vivid. Okay, so as I mentioned, if you do have any questions and you want to go a little bit deeper on these techniques, I'm going to be around all day today where you can pick my brain and we can go a little bit deeper. Now, to recap what we've gone over. Of course, now you've got techniques to remember more names, but I can only give them to you. The hard work now begins with yourselves. It takes a little bit of time, but believe me, the more you do it, the faster you will get at making these visual images. When you meet a Richard, you automatically think of Richard Hammond. He's a UK race driver. But these personal images will come quicker to you, okay? And you will create systems that will make this more effective. But one of the most important things memory training and speed reading have given me was at the beginning I mentioned my mother had me at the age of 49, quite a late age. Now, one of her dreams and goals was to make sure she saw me graduate at the University of Bath. And thankfully, while studying and creating a business, I was able to do just that. She's still with me today, thankfully, and she says she grows tall every day with pride, especially now that I'm standing in Hong Kong, a place I never thought I'd come from reading books and and teaching people how to learn faster. But if there's one thing you remember today, is that to be interesting, you must be interested. And you can do this by simply remembering someone's name. Because a person's name is the best compliment you can give them. But if you get it wrong, it is the best insult. Thank you very much for having me.